Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Amelie gets fairy dust. And I'm excited because I'm going to give my book the same treatment that I have been giving Codependency No More. And what's the other book? Complex PTSD. I'm going to read from my book and talk a little bit about it. So we'll just jump right in. The book is called The Irreverent Grief Guide, How to Fucking Survive Months 1 through 3. But regardless of where you are in your grieving process, I think that you will feel supported and you might learn something new. Okay, so here's the introduction and we'll get started. I'm so glad you're here and I'm happy to meet you because I'm the bitch that's gonna get you through this. Boom. Thank you for honoring me with your attention in this shit show of a time. As you already know, when you're grieving, you don't have the longest attention span, so you don't have any time to waste. The Irreverent Grief Guide isn't for everyone. It's just for us. If we're not like the masses on every other day, we're definitely not gonna be like them when we fucking grieve. They have their grief websites and their books with pictures of clouds, gardens, sunset, ponds, trees, and skies. So many skies. Hard pass, because a bitch cannot do cheesy shit, and neither can you. Okay. So, this is so cute. I'm reading my own words. Okay, so the reason I wrote this book, there's several reasons. One, I had to. There was no option. I had to get it out of me. Actually, there was an option because I had been avoiding writing it for a really long time, and I finally gave in and said, I'm going to create a space to make this book a reality. And I just know that when somebody comes to see me as a grief counselor, they don't know any of this stuff. And so I have seen people just change and feel so relieved and, just so like grateful just to have the data, just to have the information. And I provide them with the true understanding of what grief is, what grief does to a psyche, what grief does to a body, and different ways of looking at things so that you can live your life and grieve at the same time. That it doesn't have to be a complete, you don't have to just be in grief all the time. And, people have normal, natural grief responses, but they don't trust them. They don't trust them. And so what the research can show you is that, oh shit, I'm normal. Oh shit, like this is what grief is. I thought it was gonna be this, but it's not this. It's this other thing, and this other thing is really representative of my actual experience. There's something called clean pain and dirty pain, which I talk about in the book. And clean pain is if I hit my arm, let's say I bump my arm against something, boom, I bump it against this, and I'm like, oh, that hurts. Like it physically hurts right here. Clean pain. Humans are going to be in pain sometimes. That's just the way that it is. But if I bump it and say, you stupid, clumsy bitch, oh God, you're so annoying. Like now this hurts or whatever. Okay. The pain is still here. That's the clean pain, the real pain, the authentic pain. The dirty pain is the secondary pain that I have from my thoughts about what happened. And always it's me, like I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. And, or why is this happening to me? This shouldn't be happening to me, etc., etc. That's dirty pain. And when we're grieving, we feel like we have the experience of the grief and it's awful. And we think about that we shouldn't be feeling this way. We think it shouldn't be this hard. Like, no one ever tells us it's going to be this hard. So maybe something's wrong with me, you know, that other people have gone through this and they seem to just have gotten on with their lives. Well, they didn't, but nobody talks about it. There's so much shame connected to grief. So that's one of the reasons I wrote it. The other one is that first year, and if you read the book or continue to watch it, I'll get to this place, but grief doesn't last a year. Like, grief is forever. And how do we know? Like, just for instance, like, grief is forever because in 20 years, if your father's supposed to walk you down the aisle, but he died this year, like, on your wedding day, you're gonna have some sadness. Grief lasts. The person's still gonna be gone. Your dad's still gonna be gone. So that's, for me, that's why grief lasts a lifetime. So, but there's so much shame about it. And there's a lack of information of, you know, how grief is gonna look, you know, how grief interacts with the psyche. And I talk about that, and I just, especially that first year, there's just some information, especially about functioning, that I talk about in this book that can help alleviate and also help you strategize so you can live your life. That's why my clients, when they come to see me, I'm not there to fix their grief. I'm there to support their life and help them problem solve their life, and then also just download all this information to them while they're with me so that they understand what's happening. So they'll come in presenting with an issue, and then I'm like, oh, actually, that's a grief thing. That what you're talking about, that fight you had is related to grief. That lack of motivation or whatever, like, that's actually grief happening to you. That your functioning has gone down, that's grief. That's not you being lazy, that's grief. But people just think grief is being sad, and it's not. It's a full body, full psyche experience. And naturally so, because you've lost something so incredibly valuable. And it's scary, and they're just so, the feelings are just like, brrr, there's so many of them, but we don't know that. Like, for instance, nobody ever told us loneliness is a symptom of grief. Who would have thought that? But if I'm grieving and I start feeling lonely, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, why am I lonely? Or if I'm lonely and someone says, are you grieving? You might say something like, no, I'm lonely. I just feel lonely. You're grieving, because one of the reasons you're lonely is because of the loss. You had somebody that helped you not feel lonely, that filled a connection for you and filled a space within you that you didn't feel lonely. But now you feel lonely. That's grief. That's grief. That's grief. So that's the goal of the book, is to help you fucking survive the first months 1 through 3. I think I could just go ahead and title it months 1 through 6, but because I put myself on a deadline, I knew that it would be awesome for months 1 through 3. I would have included a lot more things, but I think that, but again, any of this information, even if you, like, if your person died 10, 12, 20 years ago, and you hear that loneliness is a symptom of grief, you're like, oh, that's what's happened. That's what's happened to me. That's what happened to me. And now I know going forward, if I feel that feeling again that I had 20 years ago, that loneliness, that I know that in the future when I grieve again, because we will, because the people we love will die, unless we die before them. That's just the way it is. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it is a reality. And so you get to apply this, and it might even heal something that was in you from many, many years ago. But so you can get the book. The link is in the bio, is in my bio. or you can just watch the videos, and that'll be free. Okay. I hope that was helpful. Give us a way in. I love you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. And you're doing amazing. Like, you're doing amazing. Just the energy. Just also, I'll be teaching you about grief work. You're doing your grief work by watching this. You're doing it. So, love you. Hope that was helpful. Bye.